Time and again, Bert Upton and Mary Jane Bell thought the telephone was glued to their father's head. Everyday sounds throughout the house of Bert Bell, commissioner of the National Football League, who once owned the Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Commissioner Bell oversees 12 professional teams, mediating the occasional uproar in locker rooms nationwide, and barking orders to callow managers in any given team's front office. No time of day was off limits. Bert Bell used a phone like a conductor's baton, directing a nationwide ensemble of braggarts, pranksters, ne'er-do-wells, and legendary Hall of Famers.
What he did is he had a phone. There was a black phone, and there was like a red phone in our house. And I remember he was on the phone night and day, took calls. I think that's what really killed him.
In his first year as commissioner, Bert's phones rang nonstop just prior to the 1946 NFL championship game between the Giants and Bears. Two Giants players were ensnared in a gambling scandal Bell feared threatened the very future of professional football. Both players were suspended indefinitely. The commissioner manned the phones yet again to immediately quash any further attempts to stain his beloved game.
We got a hold of J. Edgar Hoover. He said, I'm looking for ex-FBI agents that I can put in every city to check upon all of the gambling and the things that go on, who gets to the players and who doesn't. And that's the thing that really stemmed the whole gambling situation.
Nationally advertised price, $199.95 with your trade-in.
In 1952, Commissioner Bell himself wagered with television executives who appreciated football's power to gratify cash-rich sponsors, eager to peddle their latest wares during commercial breaks.
The first all-new shortening in 40 years.
Bell imposed a policy that home games be blacked out within 75 miles of the stadium, enticing football fans to purchase tickets, perhaps even enduring the elements to cheer their team, rather than watching the game for free at home.
Detroit Lions are playing the Cleveland Browns for the World Championship in Detroit. It had snowed all week long. And people stood out in line for hours and days to get their tickets. The minute the game was sold out, Governor Soapy Menem-Williams started to call my father and put pressure on and said, the game should be on television, Bert. It's sold out. What about the millions of people that do want to see it? I mean, that was one of the great rivalries then. He said, well, you know what, Governor? What am I going to tell the poor bastards that stood out in line for hours and days in a driving snowstorm? Am I going to say to them, you bought the tickets, now I'm going to give it to everybody else free? So he told them no. So what did Williams do? He called in Tricky Dick, who was the vice president at the time. So he called Nixon and said, come on in, we're going to put pressure on Bell. And Nixon came in, and I'll never forget the night before the game. First of all, Nixon was the most uncomfortable man I've ever been around, even as a child. And they really put the pressure on him. The Vice President of the United States and the Governor of Michigan. And he turned to Nixon and he said, I'm not going to do it. You can say anything you want. I'm protecting those poor people out there that don't have money, that sat there for that game. He backed Nixon right down. I said to myself, this is the greatest moment in my life.
For 60 or 70,000 people to do this for the Green Bay Packers and the city of Green Bay, it certainly should set an example for some of the larger cities of what enthusiasm and desire and love of sports will do.
The stocky NFL Commissioner Bell was notorious for rejecting the gentility of high society and those relentless powermongers forever seeking higher office.
I should say this, that Pat doesn't have a mink coat, but she does have a respectable Republican cloth coat. And I always tell her that she'd look good in anything.
Bert Bell coined the phrase "on any given Sunday," meaning that on game days, any team, no matter how weak, can best even the mightiest rival. And he fought relentlessly for the integrity of all of his football clubs, even if that meant an impulsive personal foul on any given parking lot.
Well, he was the commissioner at the time, and nobody would do this today. But he was actually, I'm trying to remember the name of the club. It was kind of a private club, and he took us there for dinner after the game. And there was this guy out in the parking lot, and he said, we know your game's fixed. You know, I bet on this. You know, everybody knows football's fixed. My father kept walking, took us into the restaurant, sat down. He said, I don't know what he said, we have to go to the restroom or something else like that. He walked out. The guy was still in the parking lot. He knocked him out.
Your dad knocked this guy out?
Punched the guy out. Can you imagine Goodell today being mad at somebody? Hey, JC, I had enough of this. Boom. It ain't going to happen.
But Commissioner Bell's main weapon of choice was his arsenal of telephones. Phones in his bedroom, phones on the landing, phones on the first floor, phones in his home office. Whether it was a contested ref's call in Cleveland or a gang of cranky Packer fans grousing about the warm beer sold at the games, Bert persistently worked the telephones. In the Bell household, the mere mention of the term "last call" was unceasingly out of bounds.
And I wanted him buried. I requested in the casket for a phone to be put in there. And they told me it was too sacrilegious. And I said,
With
yeah.
a name like Bell, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Bert always ringing.
For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barnes.